We're coming up on a critical milestone in the war in Ukraine. It may expedite a resolution to the conflict or leave both sides losers and drag the world into a much broader conflict. Russia is betting on a possible Moldova gambit in its chess game of destabilizing the West. There's a newly documented mass event of spillover of H5N1 bird flu into mammals. The polar vortex is collapsing, which will have ramifications on crops this year. There's a lot to cover, plus I'll announce the winner of last week's drawing, and I'll let you know how you can enter this week's giveaway. Also, stick around until the end, as I'll be sharing a bit of a personal challenge that I've been facing lately that's really taught me a lot as a prepper. So let's jump in. Anniversary of invasion. The first anniversary of Russia's most recent invasion of Ukraine is February 24th, just right around the corner. Now, a year ago, Russian troops and armor crossed into eastern Ukraine from the Russian border and from Belarus in the north, and Russia annexed Crimea to the south. Putin hoped for a very short war, or special military operation as he called it, but it has been anything but that. It was far from over before the world had an opportunity to react. Sanctions, embargoes, and a steady stream of armaments from an increasing accuracy and lethality have flowed into Ukraine. Russia adopted an aerial assault tactic and attacked infrastructure and civilian targets with everything from Iranian drones to hypersonic missiles, and the West has responded with more powerful air defenses. Now, Russia has amassed an army the size of which really hasn't been seen since World War II. Even as the country has further isolated itself through its aggressive actions, it has found and cultivated deep alliances with China, Iran, India, and North Korea. The Kiev International Institute of Sociology has put Ukrainian public trust in Ukrainian President Zelensky at around 70 to 80%. Vladimir Putin has enjoyed a 71% approval rating the month after the invasion began, partly because of a deeply rooted perception of global opposition to Moscow, which was led by the West. Since then, a few high-profile elites have distanced themselves from Putin, and hundreds of thousands of conscriptable men have fled across the border to avoid being called up to fight in the war. Putin has moved swiftly to limit and then outlaw any news outlet, social media platform, or critical voice in Russia that disputed the Kremlin's narrative about the invasion of Ukraine. Night after night, Zelensky delivers video addresses. He rallies his troops and presses for the weapons needed to defend and take back Ukraine. Meanwhile, it's estimated that 97% of the Russian army is currently deployed in operations in and around Ukraine. That leaves them very little to defend or attack other fronts like Moldova, Poland, Finland, Romania, Estonia, or Latvia. Putin is throwing so many troops into the ground war that Ukrainians are said to be running low on munitions. Thousands of Russian troops are dead, and some estimates point to around about 40% of the Russian tank force has been destroyed. Russia's inventory of missiles has been severely reduced as well, and they have had to turn to Iran for drones. They're now turning actually to India for tank manufacturing. So what's next? It's widely believed that a Russian spring offensive could begin as early as next week. Experts are warning that neither Ukraine nor Russia may really gain any decisive military advantage in the near future. Ukraine's sending of troops to counter Russian troops will only play into Moscow's plans to really draw this conflict out and exhaust and deplete Ukrainian forces. It's very likely that we're going to see a Ukrainian offense mounted that will keep Russia on its toes, perhaps even scrambling. Is really anyone winning in this war, or are we inching closer to the brink of an all-out world war? What do you think is going to happen on the anniversary of Russia's invasion? Let us know your opinion in the comments section below. Moldova. Russia continues to angrily reject the Moldovan president's claims about an alleged plot by Moscow to overthrow her government. The Eastern European country and former Soviet republic to the south of Ukraine is one of the poorest in Europe. There have been some high-profile efforts to destabilize the government in the last few years, and if Russia isn't to blame for them, they certainly would be in favor of destabilization in this country. Currently, the Russian Federation holds an unknown number of soldiers in Transnistria, an unrecognized breakaway state that's internationally recognized as part of Moldova that rests along Ukrainian southern border. It's estimated that there are around about 1,000 remaining troops of the 14th Army who are, at this point, stuck there guarding the remnants of the 14th Army's armament depots. The Ukrainian intelligence forces have warned the Moldovans that an attempted coup, instigated and supported by Russian forces, is imminent. Moldova is like a pawn far up on a chessboard. It's not really in play right now, other than Russia using its airspace to launch missiles from the Black Sea into Ukraine, but still, it certainly has a crucial position in this conflict, if Ukraine or the Moldovan government falls. Its role is small now, but it can have a massive impact as we see how the spring offensive pans out. Watch for a coup attempt that would undeniably be instigated by and supported by Russia. Watch for calls in the West to fold Moldova into Romania or otherwise integrate it into the European nations. There's even the extremely remote possibility that the remaining Russian troops in the country could opt to abandon Russia if they are pressed into instigating or supporting conflicts in either Moldova, Ukraine, or Romania. You can keep your eye on any changes happening in this strategic location, as a world conflict could one day pivot right there. There have been reports of Russian balloons probing the air defenses over Moldova, Ukraine, and Romania, and missile debris have been found in Moldova. What do you think about Moldova? Do you think they're in play? What should the world do about this country? Is this just another country that will soon be drawn into this conflict, leading to more countries tipping over behind them? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. H5N1 spillover. Look, I know we're tired of hearing about viruses, but we should all be wise not to sleep on the H5N1 bird flu, which continues to decimate poultry and wild bird populations worldwide. As I've shared on my channel before, my degree was in microbiology, and I've been concerned about a potential outbreak with a high mortality rate impacting us in our lifetimes. Fortunately, bird flu is a form of influenza A virus, so our bodies do have some natural immunity. However, scientists warn that we appear to be on the brink of a more significant spillover event into the broader mammalian population. World Health Organization figures show that between January of 2003 to November of 2022, there were 868 cases of human infection with H5N1, and more than half of which were fatal. In the bigger picture, these spillover numbers, they average to a mere 45 per year, with half that number of deaths. Still though, the threat of a more significant pandemic-like event from a stronger than average strain, it does remain highly probable. We might be even closer to that mass spillover event than anyone would really care to admit. Now here's a kicker. Over 600 sea lions were confirmed dead as of 7 days ago, recording this video off the coast of Peru from H5N1. Millions of egg layers, they have been culled as a result of the outbreaks. Bears, skunks, bobcats, coyotes, foxes, and multiple other mammals, they have been detected with highly pathogenic avian influenza just this year. Now, it's evident that this strain is leaping from birds to mammals, but it is still unknown whether mammals are then passing it on to each other. With such high mortality rates as we witnessed with sea lions, again, this was only 7 days ago, it is generally assumed that it is transitioning from mammal to mammal. At least we should be taking precautions as if it is. I would encourage you to be vigilant and ensure your prepping supplies are well stocked with flu symptom fighting medications in case a more significant human outbreak does occur. If you keep chickens or poultry in your backyard, you can watch them for signs of illness, including swelling in the head or legs or nasal discharge. Keep your pets away from any wild birds, especially any exhibiting signs of illness, disorientation, or on the ground. Carefully dispose of any bird carcasses that you may find. Stay vigilant and know that this is a more significant outbreak and it could easily spill over to humans. And again, that's a possibility. I'm not saying it will, but at least pay attention to this. Do you think that the H5N1 is anything that we should worry about? Are you taking any precautions for yourself or your animals? Let us know in the comments section below. Giveaway. For this week's giveaway, we're going to be giving away a solar power bank. To enroll for a chance to be entered into the giveaway, just simply post a comment below and click the like button. Next week, I'll use a tool to draw a winner from the comments on this video randomly. I won't reach out to you unless your name appears on the screen next week, and you must have your email address listed on the About tab of your YouTube profile. That's the only way I can reach out to you if you're the winner. Please ignore and report any comments telling you that you've won because it's not me. Now, for last Tuesday's winner of the camping hammock, the winner was John Lord. I'll be reaching out to you shortly to get that sent to you. Polar vortex. The long-range forecast is beginning to come into focus for us, and the implications, they're not good. A stratospheric warming is predicted that will collapse the current polar vortex. In conjunction with this, there's a warmer than usual rise in the Pacific Ocean temperatures. Now, this all translates into a pause between La Nina and El Nino patterns and an even stronger El Nino than we witnessed in the last cycle. That means hotter temperatures than in recent record-breaking years. That means a more profound drought for many and heavy rainfalls for others. There's a higher risk of spring storms, hail, and severe storms across the Midwest. This also means less wind shear in the Atlantic, which lessens the severity and frequency of hurricanes, but when patterns shift again, we could see a string of them late in the season. Now, some will say that we just understand these massive shifts in weather patterns better now than we have in the past, which takes some of the randomness out of the weather forecasting. Most would agree that weather patterns are getting more extreme with higher highs and lower lows, stronger winds, and persistent multi-decade droughts, while other areas get floods. Whatever you believe, I would encourage you to still prepare for the potential of extreme weather events. Take the last heat wave that you faced and add a couple of hypothetical degrees to it. How should you prepare for that? Now go get those preps and put them in place. Did the last tornado come close to but dodge your community? You would be wise to prepare as if the next one may not leave you so lucky. Did the power go out due to high winds or extreme temperatures? What are you doing now to prepare for when that happens again? We know the patterns are shifting. We're seeing this more and more in the news. We're seeing these extreme weather events becoming more frequent. These shifts, they only take a few weeks to play out in the lower atmosphere, so we should be able to glean some of the impacts that we should be bracing for by mid-March. We don't know how severe it will be at all at this time. What precautions are you taking, though? Are you taking any precautions to prepare for the spring or for the summer if there's potential for higher heat waves in your area? Let us know in the comments section below. I'm not sure how to put it any other way than to say things don't appear to be taking a turn for the better, and I feel like the opportunity to truly prepare for the future, it grows smaller and smaller by the day. I would encourage you to please take advantage of this time now to secure for yourself a better future. Don't wait for the tragedies or disasters to befall you when you have the time now to prepare. I'm personally going to be overhauling and reviewing my food backup supply here shortly. I've got a 1-year food inventory that I built a while back, and I'm going to be going back and reviewing it over the next several weeks. Gardening is right around the corner as well, and we've been working on several videos over the last few months, and I've got a few more that are in queue that I got to work on to get out here in the next few weeks, so definitely check out our gardening playlist if you haven't already to get ready, as spring is right around the corner. Let me finish with a personal story. How can I say it this way? It's been really frustrating. I've been working on a solar DIY setup video that I started on probably about 3 weeks ago, and I was like, oh, this will be something I can knock out quick. This video is different than the one I've done in the past. I decided on this one to go into much more of the reasoning behind wiring and fuses and making sure that people understand clearly why you would want to pick the components that you do when you build a custom setup. As I began to study this in detail, go to a lot of videos that were popular on YouTube, go to different forums and ask questions, I found so much conflicting information. Even and this is no joke, the manufacturer that I have parts for, I read some of their material and talked to their support, and even their material is out of date and has problems. And it's been one of those things where I'm like, wow, this is taking much longer than I thought. But all that to say, the upside, and I always try to look for the silver lining in all situations, is that I'm learning. I'm developing a skill, and a skill can't be taken away. We can get supplies, we can get items, and I think those are all valuable. Tools are important, but at the end of the day, having those skills that you've learned, I think the hard way, through doing something over and over, and then having to come to your own sense of exploration and getting in a habit and learning, that's a skill that you just can't take away. The video I released about a week or two ago on the gas generator quiet box, that video, again, with those projects, I was like, well, this will take a week or two. It ended up taking months because I had to go back and learn, make revisions. Things were right, things were wrong. I found so much conflicting information on YouTube, and I just got to a point where I was like, I've got to do this right if I'm going to release a video on my channel. But the point is, yes, things can be very frustrating, yet they're rewarding at the same time. And I think the reason I'm trying to say this is because if there's something you're learning or you want to learn, and maybe you put it off because you're like, hey, I don't know how to do this, or this is new for me, do it. Gardening is right around the season for gardening is right around the corner. And gardening has not been one of my strong suits. Two of our team members are really good at it, and I'm always just amazed at how much I've learned from them. And they do it so naturally, but it's something that I am planning on really getting into this year next. I've been focusing here lately on learning energy security, primarily understanding at a newer level how to build these solar setups. And I've learned so much, and I have so much more to learn over the next few months. But the key takeaway is now's the time to learn. We all, on this channel, I try to keep things level-headed, but clearly there's going to be challenges we see the challenges on the horizon, and it doesn't take a lot to think and look a little over the horizon beyond what we can currently see to understand that the challenges are going to be greater. And if there's something that is, you're really excited about or interested in, I would encourage you to take advantage of the time now. If you have any feedback, any thoughts, feel free to post those below. And as always, stay safe out there.